Okay, guys, what I'm showing you is the Pluto Saturn conjunction that happened on the 12th of January 2020. So astrologers could see the breakdown of structure as we currently see and know it. And what you can see is that if I get my spotlight here, so what we got Capricorn up here in the 10th house, and this shows the day of the conjunction, which was the Pluto Saturn conjunction 2020. And on that day, we also had the Sun conjunct Pluto conjunct Saturn. So Pluto is to do with birth, death, and transformation and transmutation. And Saturn is to do with karma, it's to do with father, and it's to do with structure. And Saturn rules Capricorn, and Capricorn is to do with the way we do things. So if you imagine the mountain goat on the edge of a cliff, and it takes 2 steps forwards and 2 steps back, so we're really going through really a big shift in the way we do things, and we're having to, like now, we're taking 1 step backward, 2 steps forward, we're going backwards and forwards, resolving something. And the birth, death, and transformation, really, it's part of our evolutionary soul journey. And the sun brings light to all. We've got Jupiter also, which was at 9 degrees at the time. And Jupiter is to do with expansion, it's to do with teaching, it's to do with travel and to do with other countries. And then we've had Mercury also at 23 degrees Capricorn. So all of these planets were in Capricorn, and there was a lot going on. And also Mars that day was trining Chiron, and Chiron or Chiron would be the wound that we have in humanity, and that's in Aries. So it basically, Chiron takes 8 years to move through a sign on average. Well, actually, it takes 50 years to move around a chart, so it varies from sign to sign, but that gives you an idea. And Mars is to do with our, I'd liken it to Rambo, which is not really the perfect description, but it's our will, it's our desire. It's like, that's what I want, and that's what I'm going for. It's, the ruler of Aries as well. So what I'm going to do now is, you can see this chart is the 12th of January when that conjunction happened. And the last time that Pluto and Saturn were conjunct was in Capricorn, was in 1518, when we had the Reformation, and the printing press had just come out during that period as well. So that was to do with Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, but Martin Luther, and it was the Reformation. You can check out on Google what that's about, but there was a lot of violence in Europe, and there were a lot of changes in the church. There was a complete breakdown of structure at that point, but also information was beginning to come out and flowing. And if we think back, we've only had Facebook and YouTube over the last 20 years in our time currently now. And, astrology can really begin to tell us what's going on and the themes that we're dealing with and the feeling place that we're in humanity. I'll give you an example. The moon takes 28 days to move around a chart. Different planets take different times to move around a chart. So the meeting of planets is very, very important, and a conjunction is the strongest energy that we can have. So you can see here, again, 22, 22, 22, 23, all in Capricorn. South node, past life, and then the North node, this life, and the North node was at 7 degrees of Cancer, and Cancer is ruled by rules the moon. So the moon is our emotions. So let's just do something here, which you might find interesting. I'm going to go to a month, and I'm going to jump ahead a month. And that would have been February. So the planets would would have been moving. Pluto moved into 23 degrees and Saturn moved into 26, so that things keep moving. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go ahead a month to March. And again, what I'm going to tell you here is that what you'll see, these are called aspects. These lines are called aspects. It's the degrees between planets. So what we do as astrologers, it's like reading music. Maybe that's not quite the right way to look at it, but if you're given a fresh piece of music, and let's say, you know, when you don't understand astrology, if you've not studied it, then it's very difficult to read it. But the more you understand the symbolism, you begin to see the themes that we are dealing with in humanity. So now that's the 12th of March. I'm going to jump ahead to the 12th of April, and then I'm going to go back a day. And you can find AstroSeek to look at your own natal chart as well, which you might like to do. So we're going to go back to right now, where we're at, and you're going to see here that what's going on right now in the sky is that we have these planets are where they're at, and you know, we've still got Pluto in Capricorn at 24. We've got Jupiter, which is conjunct. So Pluto, birth, death, transformation, and Jupiter, expansion. So it's expansion of, you know, the truth, and, you know, we can be over the top as well. Like, we're all searching for this truth. We're all searching for the conspiracy in all of this. And yet we have a virus that we've got no control over. We're all vulnerable. We're all in the same boat. So whatever we think, it's all going to come out and be resolved somehow. But I would, in my own opinion, I'm very much 50-50. I don't, you know, there's very little we can know. An astrology chart's not going to tell you such things. But in humanity, you know, we have to evolve. And, you know, like a bacteria will evolve, a virus is evolving, and we are evolving. Like we're born, and then we're all going to leave at some point, but we don't want to leave. We sort of see death as things that happen to other people, not to us. And half of us, you know, and many more of us are not living our lives, and we've been rushing around like headless chickens and not achieving really what we want. Like, we think we want things that are going to make our lives better, but ultimately it doesn't work out that way. If we haven't got our health, we've got nothing. So we've been given a great opportunity here to really look at ourselves, and it's going to be very hard for some people who have not got the resources or comforts. So we need to look out for each other and need to get really balanced in society. We had a full moon yesterday, which was in Libra, which is about, you know, we need to show kindness to each other. Here's Libra here. We need to show kindness to each other, and we need to be balanced and learn to balance. You know, to be balanced is about learning to be balanced. At the moment, the moon is at 17 degrees Scorpio, so we're quite in the depth of our emotions at the moment, and we're all going through different things. We've got, and also, you know, something that, you know, when we look, like, some of us are going to be in comfort. We can see in parts of the world, you know, the abuse hotlines have got an increase. Like in the UK, it's 25% increase in calls. So, you know, there's also reports that people are drinking a lot more alcohol at this time. So, you know, we can see that chaos can be created as well. And there are people that have got mental health issues and complex PTSD, traumas from the past. We could go free from past life trauma, you know, in the womb, being in the womb, trauma from the womb, trauma from our ancestors, and also Mother Earth and the, you know, the destruction of it. You know, we're not separate to the earth. We are nature. I heard that earlier, and it's the truth. So at the moment, the sun is 20 degrees Aries, and we can see that we've got 3 planets currently in Aries, the sign of Aries, which is Chiron, and we've got Lilith that's conjunct. And Lilith is, you know, the story there, Adam and Eve, goes back to the Garden of Eden, quite patriarchal, but Lilith wouldn't put up with any nonsense. So what happened was, in the Bible, Adam was given Eve because Lilith would not behave herself. So we can see that the divine feminine and the wounded healer, Chiron, the archetype are on top of each other there, so to speak, conjunct. So, and Uranus is in Taurus, and this means basically this is about breaking free of limitation and, you know, really resources, the true resources of Earth. The true resources are, you know, our food, our air, and our water. And, you know, we've all been striving for money, and, you know, we're beyond that really. We've got to reestablish what resources mean to us. And interesting times. The chart can be read in many ways as well. Venus is currently in Gemini, and that's quite beautiful, and it's going to go retrograde. So all of these planets up here, we're going to go for big retrogrades, so it's going to be an interesting time ahead. So if I show you, if you look at the line, I call them, you know, their aspects, but to make it easy if you don't understand a chart, these are currently how the planets are currently speaking to each other. So that is a trine, that's a 120-degree angle, and these little red lines here are called squares, and squares cause tension. But if you can imagine, like if you go and work out, go to the gym or something like that, or you try and go on a diet, there's going to be some form of tension. But the good thing about tension is that through tension, we have growth in all areas. You know, whether we're trying to give up something, whether we're trying to, you know, resolve something in a relationship or make our lives better. So we can look at tension squares as being horrible things, but they're not. They're ways in which we develop and grow, you know, to learn something. For even me to understand astrology, this has taken me 5 years to get to this point, and I'll be learning for years to come. You keep learning. And as we do in our relationships and life and all sorts of things. So then we've got sextiles, and they're all meaningful. So if we scroll down here, you can see that you've got, you know, the sun is squaring Jupiter, the sun is squaring Pluto. That's your tension. The moon right now, the moon moves quickly, is trining Neptune, and Neptune is the consciousness, the mass conscious unconsciousness. It's like our dream state, it's our dreams, it's watery. It's Neptune is the ruler of Pisces and the 12th house. So hey, so I'm back there. My music, my alarm clock was set for 11 whatever, 1111 in the morning. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, right, so where am I next? So we've got Mercury is sextile Jupiter. So Mercury is speaking sextile to Jupiter, and all of these mean something. It's very, very beautiful indeed. So now if we go, this is the 9th of April, but if we jump ahead by one day, so I want you to just look at these lines for a minute. This is the 10th of April. Look, we've got the moon is going to oppose Venus. Again, it's meaningful. And then look at this again. Look closely here and watch this day ahead. And then they change again. And we still got these squares going on because these planets up here move very slowly. The outer planets move very slowly. Pluto takes 245 years to move around a chart. Jupiter takes 12 years to move around a chart, and Saturn takes 29.5 years to move around a chart, and Mars takes 2 years. Neptune here takes 184 years, and Mercury takes 88 days to move around a chart, quick as silver, Mercury. Chiron, 50 years. Lilith, I can't remember how long that takes, but the sun takes a year, and Uranus takes 84 years, and Venus takes 224 days, and the nodes here, the nodes, they go this way around the chart, and they spend a year and a half in each sign. So it's going to go 2 degrees. It's going to, the last year and a half, the North Node's been in the sign of Cancer, and it's going to move into Gemini by May. And we're going to have a shift in the way we communicate, and there's going to be a lot to be said and a lot of good stuff, you know, with regard to communication for the next year and a half. Now, if I take this chart, and that's the 11th of April, and let's say we're going to jump a week ahead. So look at the lines here. They're the aspects, the way the planets speak to each other. And we jump ahead, and you can see we've still got these squares going on, but we've got some sextiles and we've got a trine. And then if we go, that's the 18th of April. 25th of April, squares, trines. So again, we can still see that we've got this activity of tension going on. And then we begin to get a little bit of a shift because Jupiter moves off and Saturn's just moved into Aquarius. And again, we can just keep going. So 2nd of May, go ahead again. And then we've got some beautiful trines going on here from these planets. Yeah, we've got some beautiful trines going on. So by May, things might be a bit more gentle for us. You know, it doesn't mean things are going to be resolved overnight, but we've got Pluto, Jupiter and Saturn, and they're going to go retrograde. You can see the little R there, that's retrograde. So that's a little lesson, but you can see that the sun will sextile the moon. This is by May. So, you know, the sun is going to trine Pluto. The sun is moving quite quickly. The moon, you know, the Jupiter is still conjunct Saturn. Jupiter is still conjunct Pluto at that point. But if you'd like me to look at your chart, your natal chart, and look at the current transits, it could be very useful to you as a healing tool during this time. And I'm doing a $20. I've dropped my prices because I'm realizing that, you know, humanity, we all need to save our resources at the moment. So I'm just being as helpful as I can and just looking after myself a little bit as well there. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to sign off and post it on my page. That's what I'm going to do. Catch you later.